Welcome to the Gigless Podcast, a podcast showcasing the works and talents of those who lost their gigs due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This podcast will feature a range of creatives from the tri-state area who are young visionaries and who contribute to their craft despite the recent events that have happened. Join us today as our host, Remi Leibovic, speaks with Joe Billy. Based in Clifton, New Jersey, Joe Billy is an active drummer and introspective acoustic-punk songwriter. As an artist, Joe Billy has been active as a live streamer, drum instructor, session worker, and as a songwriter. His newest track, I Am the Motherfucking Spider-Man, can be found in the show notes of this episode. Enjoy.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the latest episode of the Gigless Podcast. I am your host, Remi Leibovic, and today I am joined by our guest, Joe Billy.
Hello, how's it going? Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for reaching out to us via Instagram and DMing so that we could get you all set up for an interview.
Yeah, no problem. My pleasure.
So, Joe, what's your background for our listeners? Because we were talking a little bit before the recording. Tell our listeners where you're from, what you do, what you play.
My name is Joe Billy. That is my real name. I'm from Clifton, New Jersey, and I've been a drummer for at least 10 years now. But as of about 5 years ago, I've been doing solo music under the name Joe Billy, and I play acoustic-punk. Drumming wise, I'm pretty versatile in a bunch of different genres, but as of lately for my solo stuff, as of now I have about 3 albums and a few singles out. I just released a comedy song yesterday, December 11th, about being Spider-Man. It's called I'm the Motherfucking Spider-Man.
Let's go.
I'm currently working on another full-length album that has nothing to do with the Spider-Man song. That's mainly where I'm at as of now in terms of music.
What have you done during this time of great pause? Because as you said, it's currently December. We've been in this pandemic for the last 10 months. What can you walk us through your story as a musician? What has happened? Have you lost any gigs? How have you adapted? Go ahead.
Right when it hit its peak, well, maybe not its peak, but things started shutting down. We kind of went into lockdown around March. I had a good 2 weeks worth of touring to do, which had to get canceled, obviously. And even drumming wise, I had a decent amount of gigs coming up throughout the spring and summer. And so obviously that took a pretty good hit financially or just, playing wise. And working on my solo album was I was taking my time with that process to begin with. And then I wasn't able to go into the studio or track anything at all. And then I was like, okay, I didn't want to take it this slowly. But luckily we've been able to start working on that again. But other than shows and stuff, the first week or two of lockdown, I was actually really motivated and ambitious to work on stuff, because there was always a long list of things of projects that weren't necessarily priority. So I would always make the excuse that I'm too busy or whatever to not do them. And so I was like, well, I have to do them now. So I mic'd up my drum set or mic'd up a couple spots in my room or whatever for recording some more demos or doing some drum covers or something, and just working on a bunch of random projects like that, to the point where I burnt myself out, where I was like, okay, I kind of hit a wall. I have to take a break.
Right.
Because for some reason, I'm always like that. Like, I have all this time. I have to use it productively, or else what am I doing? And then it kind of balanced it out. Uh, but work-wise, I'm actually a drum instructor and like a music director and teacher over at a school of rock here in New Jersey. And we had to go all virtual, which was totally different for us because we'd never done anything like that before. and and so once we got used to that it became relatively okay. And after a while, I forget when we opened back up, but at this point, we're doing in person and virtual, kind of like a hybrid. What's called hybrid type of programs. So things have been going pretty well in that regard.
Right. I feel like there's definitely this need, especially me too, with when quarantine hit, everybody was like, especially creative people, I just feel like we all were just like, okay, we got all this free time now, let's get to work. And then everyone like burned out. everyone
Yeah.
everyone was either going into quarantine being like, I'm overwhelmed and I have too many gigs going on or too much stuff going on. I need a break. And then quarantine happened and they were like, oh God. So then, like,
too much of a break. Too much of a break.
Too much of a break. Too much of a break. And then the other people were just like, I need to produce like as much as I possibly can. But the problem with that is that you don't learn to set like boundaries for yourself. And that's how burnout happens, is like you don't keep yourself on a deadline because you don't view yourself as like your employee or like your...
Right, I'm just doing stuff.
Yeah, you just like, and then it's like, I wonder, like yesterday I was designing all day yesterday and I was like, I wonder, and I woke up this morning, I was like, I wonder why I'm completely shot. It's because I just like tunnel visioned it through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm definitely that way a lot of the time. And now at this point, now that I'm working pretty regularly, but I still want to do all of these things that I'm able to do, I'm still getting myself slightly burnt out, which is kind of funny. But you know, over time, I get more used to incorporating healthy habits and stuff, and like acknowledging when I need to slow down or take a break, or how to go about things in a smarter way than a harder way and stuff. So I'm grateful for that.
That's something I think that everybody as a collective learned in this time. And so that leads me to my next question, like as a creative person, during this time, how do you feel like post quarantine, but we're on that little verge where we don't necessarily know where we're going as a state, or at least New Jersey. Things are different here, but
yeah. Well, it's still to some extent, but at first it was very like it's kind of weird. Like in some regard, it was like the possibilities are endless because I have I have like a bunch of audio gear and like I have the instruments that I would need, and I have some sort of engineering background. So that, like the Spider-Man song, for instance, I've been working on it for months. I produced it myself, and so but so in some weird regard, it's like all these possibilities are endless, and then in another regard, it's like very limiting because you can't go play shows, or you can't like just busk on the street or whatever. And so like I was playing a show at least once a month, and I was so excited to go on tour and stuff and like start just playing gigs in general, whether it's my solo stuff or as a drummer for hire. And once it's just like all suddenly taken away, it's like you have to appreciate what you have at hand.
Right.
And so so it is kind of weird in two ways like that. But I lost my train of thought.
It's all good. I was actually going to ask, who were you going on tour with? Who were you supposed to go on tour?
That was for my solo project.
Okay.
So it was a Joe Billy tour, yeah.
Okay. And where were you going to tour?
Um, I was gonna hit a few spots that I had before, and then some new spots. So I was going through New York State, Rhode Island. I think I was going to Massachusetts, Ohio, Pennsylvania.
Oh,
I
wow.
think, yeah. So like I was doing a bit wider of a stretch of New England because I've done, um, I did like a 2 week. My first tour ever actually was like a 2 week stretch through Pennsylvania and Ohio, and then back to New Jersey.
Oh, God.
Um, and then I did like 2 separate weeks, kind of around northern New England and then a little bit southern New England, like back to Pennsylvania and Ohio, because I have a bunch of friends in those states.
Nice.
So it's kind of like that. Every tour, I try to branch out slightly and then maybe hit one or two spots that I did last time.
No, I was gonna say my first choir trip, because I did women's choir. My first choir trip, we drove to Ohio, and it was like the fact that Pennsylvania is 8 hours within
Oh yeah,
itself a journey. I was just like the last stretch was like, oh, we're in Ohio now. I was like, don't tell me that was all of PA.
yeah, yeah. It's fucking insane. Like when I was what's like routing out that tour, it was like, oh my god, like I need to have at least 3 shows in Pennsylvania to make this like
To make this worth the drive.
yeah. Pennsylvania is so fucking long.
So have you been doing any online gigs or social
Oh yeah.
distancing, Twitch? I know
I
everybody's on Twitch.
I I'm about to start doing Twitch. I'm really late to the game. I'm usually very late to the game on a lot of things,
It's okay.
but I've been getting familiar with Twitch, and it seems like a really cool community. A bunch of my friends are on it and stuff, and so I definitely want to try my hand at it soon. Um, but I have been doing a few live streams. I tried really hard to do some like outdoor dining gigs or like anywhere like that, reaching out to a lot of people, but nothing really came to fruition. But I right at the beginning of lockdown, actually, I was supposed to have my annual birthday show over here in Clifton because I usually throw a show for my birthday because I don't really give a fuck about my birthday, so we might as well have fun with it, you know. So, um, and so it was. I think it was like the week before or like the day before. I kind of forget now. It was months ago that everything had to close, and so I was like, okay, well, I guess we'll do a live stream instead.
Yeah.
So I kind of just went with it, and so I did a live stream on YouTube for that. And I've done a few Instagram ones and Facebook ones on a bunch of different pages, and I did a charity stream for Direct Relief. I think it was back in April, so that was a lot of fun.
Nice.
And I'm gonna try to hop on Twitch maybe sometime next week to try that out because I think I
Same.
worked out the kinks
I definitely.
to set it up.
Yeah, Twitch can be one of those things. Like I know, like Paul Polio, one of our previous
yeah.
episodes, he's on Twitch, and Brandon, also one of our previous episodes.
Yeah, they're both good
They're
friends of
both
mine.
really on Twitch, and Twitch has been so great. And that's the thing is like, there's more ways to foster this community and there's more ways to contribute to it than like that people have previously thought of. It's just that now that everybody's kind of like locked in place but wanting to connect, the utilization of these platforms is like paramount.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So any kind of virtual platform that has the most interaction is definitely going to be the best way to go about it because like so we're all so fucking sick of virtual things.
Oh yeah, the minute that I could like go see live music in a safe and good kind of environment, like I'm game. But everything again with what you said too, you tried playing like outdoor dining shows and stuff like that. It's very difficult per state because if you are part of the 25 or the 50% capacity. So like you're a customer for as you are occupying the space of a paying customer according to those guidelines. And that it's really difficult. I know people that own their own restaurants and they're going through a lot right now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, everybody is. It's not easy.
Right. So my next question is, what's your daily job now, or your routine, or any advice that you have for drummers out there?
Well, like I said, I'm a teacher at a school of rock, and so that's been ongoing, whether it was just virtual for some time, or now we're doing in-person and virtual hybrid schedules. On top of that, I've actually been getting some drum work in. I've been reaching out to a lot of friends and promoting myself a bit in terms of being a drummer for hire, and a decent amount of people have reached out to me to just track some drums for them because, like I said, I mic'd up my drum set a while ago and got a pretty good sound out of it. And so I'm still doing stuff like that, and I'm just recording some drum tracks for people that need it. So that's been a lot of fun too, just being able to be creative in a collaborative effort that way as well, on top of writing whatever I feel I can, or working on the album and stuff. But work-wise, it's mainly been freelance drumming and teaching. Yeah.
And as a teacher, because we've also had music teachers on this show, what do your students think? Like, have you lost connection with your students? Like, can you explain what it's like to be a music teacher during this time, like in December now?
Totally.
Yeah.
As we all know, music is very how do I put this? Music is a very physically interactive type of medium, right? And so, especially when you're trying to teach someone how to play music or a specific instrument, doing that over a virtual platform is incredibly hard. Like, it's very limiting. There's only certain things that you can do. A big thing about the School of Rock program too is that we're very like performance based, group based, play the music, like feel the music based, and then we also incorporate all the technical side and the reading and the sheet music and all, like, every aspect that you would need to be a better musician. And once you take away the performance programs that we have, that and our group classes, it's just not the same, because we tried to do those virtually, and then like flies, kids would just drop off, because like they're not getting much out of it at all.
It just sucks because the engagement that you need to have, like it's a very physical space.
For sure, especially for drums. I mean, I was lucky enough to have at least a few microphones. I mean, you don't really only need one microphone and an interface. Like, kids don't have that, like most of them anyway. And so, they might be able to hear me pretty clearly, but then their audio comes through and it's all like, so,
yeah.
Like, it's in a weird, fucked up way. I trained my ear to hear really distorted drums and understand what the.
Let's go.
So I guess that's a positive. I don't know. But it depends on the kid too, or the student rather, because a decent amount of them take to the virtual learning relatively well, and it's because I always like to approach teaching from a student to student basis. So like there's not like one set way to teach everybody, like everyone learns in their own way and per their own interests and their own capacity and stuff. And so some of my students like really like doing book stuff more than playing music, and some really like playing music and taking lessons from songs as opposed to all of the book stuff. We incorporate all of it, but some lean towards another. So the ones that really like learning songs more, where we can't play songs together. There's always a delay on the other side. If I were to play a song through the Zoom or whatever. So once we started opening up again, and having safety protocols and stuff to have in-person lessons, everyone was so thrilled about it. And we've haven't had any problems in that regard. So we're very grateful that we can do that at this point.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like a whole process, especially when you're teaching, because I used to teach kids like a couple years ago. I used to teach Taekwondo, and I can only imagine like trying to teach a physical activity to children through the screen. So again, props to you. And that answers like basically my next question was like, is there a lack of materials in your work, and how have you adapted to that? And you have said like you're learning how to hear things through like Zoom and like attuning yourself to that kind of digital space. And I think that that's like, the next big thing should be like a Zoom for musicians where everything is on time, there's no delays, and everyone can be on the same thing.
I still haven't gotten a chance to look into it enough, but a friend of mine told me about something called Jam Kazam or something. And apparently there's like very low latency and stuff. Like you can have a few channels in there where you work on a session together remotely or something. So that sounds interesting. Like interfaces like that have to exist soon, you know? But I can only imagine how hard that is over Wi-Fi or something, you know? But in addition to training my ear to hear distorted music, I've also, a big positive of this is I've learned how to use my words in a better way or more productively. And the reason for that is because I'm a very like physical, like showy type of teacher most of the time, especially as a drummer. And so like if I had to show how to adjust something on a drum set, or like, because there's a million pieces to a drum set, you know, and so like I would just like show them, but I can't really do that. Like I can point my camera at the part that I'm on, but like I can't actually touch their drum or their hi-hat or whatever and like show them how to do it. And so I've had to learn how to explain it in a much more detailed way that they can follow and understand what they need to do, which it was kind of frustrating at first, but I am grateful for that because, you know, learning how to say things in a better way is never a bad thing, I guess, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're trying to, well, you know what? I think that that's better because it teaches the student about what the parts are on the instrument, what is like, you know, what makes it the sound, what the rig is, how does one thing change something else.
Yeah, I never realized how hard it was for me to describe like a lug on a drum. Like they're like, I don't know, what are you talking about? I'm like the circular thing on the rim of the drum.
Yeah.
Like how do you describe a lug, you know?
There are people who are like science writers and people who like write things for instruction manuals. Like that's a whole job, that's a whole career field.
Oh sure.
I think that you should definitely check out like
yeah, you're right.
You should definitely like hit somebody up and just be like, I know how to repair drums and I know how to make it in a very appealing way that's easy to follow along.
I don't know if I'm there yet, but with some practice I could take a crack at that.
Even voice acting, man, like all you need is like a step by step, you know.
I've been trying to look into that actually. Apparently it's a lot more of a it's a lot more competitive and professional than people think. Like, oh yeah, I got a good microphone and I have a voice and stuff, but I looked into it a little bit and it's like not easy at all.
Yeah, a lot of I don't even know how you get gigs in that. I saw some like voice acting gigs for like animation students and like small animation studios that need people to like record And if you're listening to this and you are like someone who is a musician and you are someone who is a voice actor, just FYI, towards the end of the semesters, I've been seeing, and especially now, I've been seeing a lot of animators asking for musicians and composers and producers. And I've also seen a lot of them looking for voice actors too. So Instagram is a place to find those kind of gigs, especially if you follow like the animation student gig, like tags or all that, because they are willing to pay people. It's not going to be like $5,000, but they are willing to pay people for their time because animating takes a lot of time in and of itself.
Yeah. I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, one of my more recent projects was for someone who was like finishing up their college project or something, like in the recording arts field, and she was just like, "Yeah, I need drum tracks for this song." Like real simple. It's like, okay, here you go. You know. So I like never. I keep forgetting that like there's still a market like that to reach out to. So I definitely got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, no, there's a bunch of ways that the creative community as a whole can support each other. And like right now I'm being commissioned for some work for someone's like master's capstone. So I'm like making some posters for her presentation about immigration resilience and climate change. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, but like that's the thing is that's a way that you've been able to adapt and you've been able to like blend yourself in. And you said earlier that you try to make friends everywhere that you go so that you could get more connections in the places that you play. How has your networking changed? Like, how do you meet people now?
Well, a lot of it is, I've always used Facebook a decent amount to stay connected, and Instagram as well, with any of the friends that I need to stay connected with. Trying to reach out, trying to gain more contacts and stuff is incredibly hard when there's no movement or not as much movement in as in like the music scene or whatever. So like touring and like going to shows is such an easy way to just meet people, you know, like most of the best connections or shows or opportunities that I've gotten was purely just because I met people. So it's not as easy, you know. I've been trying to stay active on a bunch of my friends like live streams and stuff, because not only is that fun, but you feel like you're hanging out with your friends, you know. And so I think that's mainly how I've been doing it. But you know, in terms of getting contacts that can help me out musically or get more promotion or reviews for songs that I release or what have you, getting in the Facebook groups and reaching out to people to see if they're interested in this stuff is probably just taking the time to do that is the most helpful, at least what I've been doing rather.
Yeah, I feel like that's a great way to do things because I've been to like Zoom networking meetings and again, like it's just awkward because of the interface, but it's like a bunch of squares with all these people and if someone says something really interesting, you can't be like, "Hey, so and so, can you explain more?" because then you're talking over all the other people that are there.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's not like you can like go over and physically to the other side of the room and pull them over and just be like, "Hey, what's up? You know, how's your, you know, like you said something really interesting. Let's talk about that. Let's see what we could do together." You know?
Yeah. It's I know Zoom has like a way to use breakout rooms and stuff, but I can't imagine like participants like building their own breakout rooms or something for stuff like that.
I haven't been able to do that. Most of my Zoom interactions are through Gigless, so they are just like one-off meetings.
Yeah.
Even outside of Gigless, like for work and stuff, they're all like over cam call or like an Instagram video or video chat or Zoom or Skype. Like it's not really, nothing's really changed to that. But, you know, how are your instruments doing? Like, have you been able to get everything tuned and fixed up or?
Yeah, I actually had to get my bass set up because it was all kinds of fucked up. But I have working with musicians all the time. You have a plethora of friends and connections. So a good friend of mine, Mark Dollar, who lives in Montclair, sets up my instruments all the time. Like he did my acoustic a few months ago, and I asked him to set up my bass, and he does fantastic work. So if you're in the North Jersey area, definitely hit up Mark Dollar for any of your guitar setup needs. But drum wise too, like going out and getting a new head or new cymbals isn't that hard. But thankfully I'm able to keep my my instruments and my drums up to par myself. So at least there's that.
Yeah, the reason why I asked that is because I've been interviewing some other people, and I don't know if their episodes will air before or after this, but long story short, like someone has a harp and the other person
Oh my
has like a
God.
classical piano, and it's just like getting thing. And then one of
Yeah, you
our
have to like hire a
guys,
tuner for that.
yeah, and then one of the Ron Iglesias from one of the earlier episodes, he was just like, yeah, my guitar is busted. He's like, I need to get a new guitar. Like I need to fix or something in his electric guitar was just like not working.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a problem for a lot of musicians at the beginning of the quarantine. Was like they're not like music shops weren't considered essential.
Yeah, like at this point, it's not that hard because you mask up and you can go do most of the things that you have to do. Um, but but yeah, at first it was like you can't go anywhere, you know.
Right. And I don't know, like, have you gone out of state to play like at all, or have you had any like gigs down more in like the southern New Jersey? I've been seeing a lot of people being able to get like playing gigs like in southern.
Oh, like currently, like during COVID.
Yeah, like I mean, they were like, you know, like you said, like outdoor dining gigs
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, like socially distanced, but
Yeah, anyone's I forget what they were called. It was somewhere in southern Jersey. Um, that was doing like a lot of like drive-in shows, which was really cool. But any restaurants that had enough space outside or any venues that were able to do like drive-by or drive-through shows um, eh, were just at capacity, like over capacity of the amount of musicians wanting to play.
yeah.
So by the time I got to them, they're like, yeah, sorry, we cannot accept like anybody else. Like if we were to keep accepting, we would be booked like through next year,
Yeah, because the problem is that I saw that and it's like, oh, it's only $125 per car, right?
Mm-hmm.
For some, like I saw some bands that were playing, and that's fine. But my little supply went out, but I'm good because I'm on battery. What happened is and we're back, but basically what happened is that like it's $125 per car, right? And you have but you have like people like stuffed in cars to get there, and I believe it was the Chainsmokers or some like electronic musical band that they had a show out like in the Hamptons or one of the like open space places in New York, and basically like now they're getting fined like millions of dollars because they broke so many protocols because there's so many people showed up to the show in like droves. And like who did you like I don't know, like who did you plan to play with or who did you plan to see? You can shout them out.
It wasn't anyone in particular. It was just I feel bad because I forget what company was doing it. It was like some small entertainment company in Jersey. that was just throwing shows. So I was like, hey, if there's an opening, which I doubt there is, then I'd be down to play, type of thing. Um, the I know a lot of people are bummed about the big shows that they missed, but the only ticket that I had was to go see Bad Religion and Alkaline Trio, I think in like April.
Where were you going to see them?
Fuck, where was it? Man, I'm forgetting everything at this point. The ticket's over there. I can't reach it. I think it was somewhere in Asbury, I think, in like a gymnasium or like an auditorium. Anybody
wow.
listening that
Okay.
is aware of that will definitely know what I'm talking about, but I forget the name of the venue. But you know,
Was it the Saint? I know the Saint
no,
closed down and
it
everybody
wasn't.
like
It
lost their
wasn't like an
minds.
actual venue. It was like a venue that's actually an auditorium or something. Um, but luckily it was, you know, tickets like that are like $35, you know, so it's not like I got hit too hard, and um, that money I will gladly support those bands. But um, you know, I miss playing with a bunch of my friends and stuff, you know, having fun at shows. Like,
Who do you typically play with?
um, my friends in Keep Flying are always a fucking blast to play with. They're kind of based out of multiple states, but they are just fucking insane. Like I love that band so much. Very good dudes. Um, uh, I mean, my friends in the Schwam and Elementality and
Oh, so you know Paul
no,
and
no, I know
Brandon.
Paul,
Let's
I know
go.
Brandon, and John Rosario is a really good friend of mine, and I mean, shit. Now I'm like, there's so many bands that I'm friends with that I miss playing with, you know. Um, so like, literally everybody.
Right.
Literally everybody.
Well, we're in our last like 5 minutes
Oh,
of the interview. I know it goes by so
yeah.
fast because we could talk about like everything and just everything that's happened, everything that's going to happen. But you know, what are your plans for 2021?
Well, as of right now, I'm going to continue working on the next album. I'm really excited about it because most of like my other 3 albums that I have out currently are mainly just me and an acoustic guitar singing, you know, and so it's just solo stuff. But the 2 singles I have out right now, "We All Die Eventually" and the Spider-Man song that I just released, are full band songs that I actually played most of the instruments on myself. One of them, my friend Aaron Aaron Lockett played horns on, and for the Spider-Man song, my brother Matt Billy played lead guitar. And so I'm really excited about this album because it's like 90% of it's going to be full band stuff and instrumentation. Like I played the drums on it, and I'm getting my friend Billy Smolin, who plays with me a lot, to play upright bass and electric bass, and I'm gonna get some violin, fiddle on it, and some horns, and
Let's
a bunch
go.
of it's gonna be fucking wild. I'm really excited about it. Um, so that's like the main focus project right now. Whenever it gets done, it gets done. Um, but aside from that, just continuing working with bands in whatever capacity, and if we're able to get some shows, whether it's with the bands that I play with or my own stuff, then I'll do that. But also trying to get more into Twitch. I'm gonna try that out a bit, you know.
Well, when you get that all set up, let us know so we can launch it and we can put
Yeah.
it like you can put the links in the show notes.
Oh,
Because
that'd
you
be
will
great.
have your own page. Like we have like a
I
whole professional site. Like we have our show notes, we have everybody's links.
Oh, that's great. Wow.
Doesn't matter if you've been in 15 different band projects, we will put them up.
um, yeah, currently I do have a Twitch channel. I just haven't done anything with it. I'm pretty sure my handle on Twitch is the same as everything else at Joe Billy Music. So I'm on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm finally made a TikTok to fuck around with that.
4 cents for 500 views on TikTok. The shekels.
I guess it's some way to get extra promotion or something.
Right. Well,
But
thank you so much.
yeah. No, yeah,
Sorry to cut you
thank you
off.
so much for having me on, Remy.
Of course. Thank you so much for being on. And again, guys, thank you for listening to Gigless. Joe Billy, where can they find you?
Well, like I just said, my handle is at Joe Billy Music on most social medias, if not all of them. But I also have a website, joebillymusic.com, where you can find literally everything that has to do with this project, including my social links and everywhere you can find my music and my merch and stuff, which I'm currently having a half off sale until 2021. Everything in my merch store is currently half off, so in case you want to go check that out. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. And yeah, Dane, take us out.
Thank you for listening to the Gigless Podcast, hosted by Remi Leibovic and produced by Dane Wagner. The song used in our intro and outro is Beach Walk by Unicorn Heads. If you enjoyed this podcast, head over to our social media pages on Instagram at Gigless Podcast and our website, giglesspodcastblog.wordpress.com. There, you can find out more about the artist, contact the host and producer, and find out more about our schedule. Thank you.